Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sigal Shemesh. I'm a senior sustainability engineer at Borough Household. I'm going to be talking about, so actually great timing because I'm going to be talking about passive house. So right after Ronnie's beautiful presentation, I'm going to be talking about my personal research that I've done over the last year. I currently live in a passive house multifamily building, and I moved here from a building about 5 blocks south of me currently that was built in the early 1900s. So I'm going to be looking at the balance between, or talking about the balance between energy and health and well-being that I found in my research. Next, please. So a couple fundamentals about passive house. Really all that there is to it is that there is enhanced insulation and increased air tightness. So as Ronnie mentioned, this reduces the energy and load consumption. A little bit about where my building is. So as I mentioned, my passive house building that I live in currently is about less than half a mile from where my old building was, and I'm going to be comparing both of them. You can see the difference in facade here. So the 1920s multi-fan building on the left and the new passive house building on the right. Similar window types and sizes. Here you can see a little bit more about the windows and how they work. This is currently the passive house building. What's interesting too is that, we kind of always hear that small windows are best, but having larger and more quality windows are great too. Here are some not so great things that happened in my passive house. So there were some leaks with the window during the storm. The sun also shines on the thermostat, which is not great for our cooling. So I looked at a few different components of the passive house building. I looked at thermal comfort, acoustical comfort, energy consumption, and air quality. I'll talk a little bit more about how those compared between the two buildings in the next slides. My initial assumptions for the passive house were that everything was going to be amazing. It was all going to be great. And I did not find that that was the case. So if we look at the temperature in both buildings, in the multifamily building compared to the passive house, multifamily, there was many more swings in temperature, and the passive house was pretty consistent. This is looking at acoustical comfort, which you can't really see anything, but you can see that the passive house building does have some additional ceiling around the windows, so it's a little bit more comfortable from the noise outside. Energy consumption was actually pretty similar. This has less to do with the facade and more to do with the appliances that we have in our unit. These are some thermal images of the passive house building actually compared to a regular building. You can see that the more white it is, the more heat that's escaping. So the yellow box here is the passive house building window versus the red boxes are like a traditional 1900s building. A little bit hard to see because everything's moving very fast, so I'm happy to answer questions in the breakouts. This is the overall air quality. So you can see that the multifamily building is actually a little bit better than the passive house. Here are the air filters in the passive house building. So just a really good reminder to change your air filters every 6 months or so. And then I want to end it on the equity component. So overall, the passive house building didn't do so great in terms of air quality. You can see some of the smoke from our neighbors across the way. And yeah, just a great example of why we should have good air quality in passive house buildings for everyone.